and all. Welcome back to another edition of the Average Guy's Guide to Life podcast. You know who I am. You know what this is, you bitch. You bitch. How's it going? How's it going staying inside? How's it going not touching? Or, staying away from folks? How's that social distancing going? You going good? You getting some binging done? Watching a bunch of fucking old movies? Listening to a bunch of music and podcasts? Hopefully mine. How is it going? Hopefully you all are staying safe and staying away from those sick folks out there that's trying to give you the fucking zombie virus. Uh, I'm not in quarantine. I'm still going to work, but, I don't like people close to me anyway. I'm not antisocial by any means, but still, you got to be allowed inside my circle. Hey, get the fuck away from me. Why are you breathing on me? Okay? There's a respectable distance that you should keep when you're talking to someone. If you're breaking that distance, I will slowly back away. That's just how I am. Haven't been much of a concert goer or sports event goer. Not saying that I'm against any of that stuff, so I'm not missing much of anything. It's going great. It's fucking going great. Still get to go to work, make some money. Got that stimulus package coming. Looking good. Fuck it. Coronavirus 2020 looking good for era. But in all seriousness, I hope everyone's staying safe, staying healthy out there. Things are getting weird. Things are getting fucking scary. Shit's looking like a sci-fi movie. So be on your P's and Q's, all right? Be on your fucking pints and quarts out there. I wanted to open up this podcast saying that something I've expressed before, that men are fucking gross. Men are fucking gross creatures. Like, I'm gonna explain what I mean by that, of course, but seriously, a lot of men are fucking disgusting. Not just physically disgusting, as in their physical appearance. Not in just disgusting as in what they would physically do if they were allowed to do such things. Just their mentality and their moral values are fucking disgusting, bro. Or girl. Or bro girl. Whatever. But you know what I mean. Men are fucking disgusting. I'm a man and I'm saying that. And I don't want my men out there to think that, oh, I'm being a cuck. Or, I'm trying to bat for the wrong team. No. That's not the case. When I see or hear something that's objectively wrong or gross, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. Because it's objectively wrong and gross. Simple as that. And what do I mean by that? As far as this particular example that I'm displaying for you today on how men are fucking gross. Well, I'm glad you asked. I was having a conversation with someone, another man, another person that has a penis and 2 testicles, I think. But according to the conversation that we had, I'm pretty sure he did. But this is someone that I am very cordial with. I wouldn't say that we're quite acquaintances, and we're definitely not friends, but we're friendly. And we could share input with one another without judgment. Like it's a genuine back and forth conversation, and this is why I speak to this person. But the conversation today might have led me to rethink the way that I converse with this person. Not because he's a bad dude, just because it's fucking gross. So, let me paint a picture for you. Are you ready? Do you have your canvas? Do you have your easel, your canvas, and your brushes ready? So I can paint this picture for you, or help you paint this picture. I am at work having a conversation with the person in question. And we are beginning our conversation off just by talking about work, his side of things, my side of things. We're talking about the current situation with the COVID number 19. And I don't know where things veered off the road, but they happened to. And it appears that he was looking for someone in the office, someone of the female variety who apparently he was secretly crushing on. Now, I'm not one to judge someone's type. You can like who you like. Oh shit, it just got a new rhyme there. I'm not one to judge your type. You can like what you like. Air the difference, soundcloud.com. So he apparently has this crush on someone who I don't personally deem as an attractive person, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder and whatnot. So he's asking for her whereabouts. Where is this person? Where are they? How come they're not here today? They never miss a day. And, I explained to him the situation. And he's like, man, I'm going to do all sorts of nasty, inappropriate things to this person. And I'm like, by all means, go shoot your shot, bro. I mean, do your thing. As long as she's single and you're single, I don't see anything that would, stop you from doing it. But turns out the person in question, not him, her, she's not single. And I know this, that she's not single. And it turns out my dude don't care. He don't give a fuck. He don't give a fuck. All he wants to do is figure out everything that he can about the flaws of the boyfriend, capitalize on that, and slide up in that juicy spot. All right. I mean, that's kind of fucked up, but not the scale of fucked up that we're heading towards. I mean, to try and pull someone away from a relationship that they're currently in, just so you can get your rocks off, just so you can get your little dick hard and put it up in a hole for your own selfish purposes. Okay, that's fucked up and selfish, but not like a 10 on a scale from 1 to 10 on a fucked up scale. That's maybe like a 5. That's a 5 in the fucked up scale. So he really doesn't care that she's in a relationship, right? And we're continuing the conversation, and we go back to the corona thing, and we're talking about how the government is going to settle on $1,200 per adult and $500 per child. And just casually he mentions that he has a wife and 3 children. Casually, like carrying on the conversation. And I'm like, okay, you're married with 3 boys and you are openly pursuing someone that you work with to try and fuck them for your own selfish benefit, despite all of these things. Men are fucking gross, bro. Like, he just shared this with me. He just fucking shared it with me. Like we was homies. Like we grew up on the block together or some shit. He just shared his feelings and his desires. Like, yeah, I'm married. Man, he didn't say it like this, but this is what the conversation pieced itself into. In general, what he's saying is, yeah, I'm married. I got a few kids, but shit, I still fuck that girl in that office in there. And I'd disappear if I had to. Now that's something he literally said, that I would disappear if I had to. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's a smooth brother. Very smooth. Very smooth. I can tell that he's deliberate with the way that he speaks and the words that he chooses. He's a mature guy too, so he knows his role and he plays it. He's not a young guy either. He's not particularly attractive, I would say, by the classical sense. Um, he's chunky. He's a chunky guy. He's not super tall either. He's about 6 foot. We see eye to eye. I'm probably a half an inch taller than him. But he got presence. That's how I'll put it. He has a presence. So I can understand how his male ego would say these things. And maybe he's just saying them to be saying them. And a lot of men do that too. A lot of men just say things because they think it's common man talk. These are things that you're supposed to talk about with other guys that you can't talk about with women. Knowing that you don't have the true intentions to do these things, you just vent it out. You get it off of your mind and off of your chest so that, you can continue on with your life, because bearing that weight of actually having the desire to do these things is overwhelming sometimes. So I can understand that perspective of a man that doesn't want to do it but wants to talk about it. I get it. There's plenty of married men out there that still desire other women. Plenty of them. If you're a married woman listening to this podcast right now, don't shit yourself, lady. Don't shit yourself. Your husband is out there looking at every ass, every set of tits, every pretty face, and like, God, I would love to jizz on any one of those options. Anyone. Just, God, give me one of those options. A lot of men out there are doing it. There's a lot of guys out there that wish they never got married to the person they're with, and only fantasize, and they go into the closet and jerk off for a quick minute. Especially if you're an older woman and your looks are kind of fading, or you've had a few babies and you don't keep up with your figure, and you're looking like you've had a few, not drinks, but spawn. Your man notices that. So there's a ton of guys out there with that mentality, but very, very, very few of them act on it. I would say, I don't know. I didn't take a fucking poll this morning and ask, but it's a small percentage of guys that will actually betray their relationship to pursue their fantasies. And that's the cutoff. That is the cutoff there. That's the cutoff between a guy who is committed to what he's in and a guy that just don't give a fuck and will take any opportunity he can. And I feel like this guy's just like, fuck it. My marriage is just like an extended friendship. We just end this shit together. He also said to me a few weeks back that if he wasn't married, he'd just be single and fucking. Just single and fucking. Can you believe it? Men are fucking gross, bro. Men are gross. Now, I'm not going to sit here and proclaim that attraction doesn't exist. That would be bullshit. Attraction exists for everyone. Everyone is attracted to some shit, and it's not always going to be the person with you, that you're with. That's life, That's being a human being. You're not going to talk to your spouse about this shit, obviously. And sometimes you do need to circle in your small private groups of same-sex friends or same sexually attracted to friends for all of my non-binary folks out there. You just huddle in a group of people who find the same thing attractive that you find attractive, and you could just chatter about it. I get that. But going out there and acting on that shit is completely different. Like, it would be dumb for me to assume that my woman wouldn't find, you know, I'm not gonna say Jason Momoa. I've been saying him too much. Paul Acosta. If you don't know who he is, he's an MMA fighter. He's an MMA fighter. Google him, Paulo Costa. It would be dumb of me to think that he isn't attractive to my girl, because he's like universally attractive. He's an objectively attractive person. The man is built of stone. He's stacked like a fucking castle from 1960. Just rocks on top of rocks on his body. And oh yeah, he's also handsome as shit. Lucky, genetically fucking blessed individual. So it would be dumb of me to be like, don't look at that guy. I mean, don't stare, but you can look, and I know while I'm looking at this person, I can acknowledge that she's going to be like, in her head, that's a hot piece of meat. Of course, I don't expect her to say it to me. And of course, we're not going to talk about it. But I think the main reason my girl likes to watch MMA with me is because of motherfuckers like Paulo Costa. She just like to see men shirtless, jacked, punching each other. And I'm not going to mention that, And she's never mentioned it. It's just one of those things. I personally have a very specific taste, so I don't find every woman attractive. I find a lot of women annoying and entitled. That's just me. I look at a commercial that's filled with models, women models, and I get disgusted instantly, because I'm like, this isn't appealing to me. You're selling a product and you're clearly selling it using these fucking fake shells of human beings. I find genuine beauty attractive, like someone who's portraying themselves through their image, like they portray personality. That's what I find attractive, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, this guy, back to this guy, I want to know, like, is this gross? Like, it has to be gross, right? This motherfucker just openly was talking to me about cheating on his wife. Like, didn't give a fuck. Just didn't give a fuck. And then one of our other coworkers come downstairs, someone else who's a chunky soup. She's a chunky girl. And she comes down and gets some coffee, and she leaves the break room. And when she leaves the break room, he asked me, did I hit that? Let me think about this. Did I hit that? First, why would you assume that was an appropriate question to ask me? Firstly. Secondly, did we display that we were friendly enough to the point where I would have potentially, quote unquote, hit that? And finally, what in your mind, the way that you think, would process that information, whereas that's the first question you ask me? Like, why? Why are you asking me this, sir? Like, we couldn't just carry on the conversation we had, or we were having. You have to watch this chunky soup leave the break room and then ask me, did I hit that? I mean, maybe it was a secret compliment. Maybe he was just like, man, you're a good looking dude. I'm pretty sure you can have sex with everybody in this building if you wanted to. Men, women, everything. Maybe that's what he was trying to say. And if that's the case, thank you, bro. I appreciate it, I appreciate it. I'm not going to lay down with you anytime soon, but I appreciate the compliment. Maybe that's how he was thinking. I could see that. Maybe he was thinking that, I actually found Chunky Soup attractive, and I would potentially want to hit that. But I quickly told him that no and no. Like, This person is not my type, sir. She done had one too many breadsticks. Okay, let me stop being mean. Anyway, I really want to know what you guys think about that whole situation. Would you feel comfortable with someone basically admitting infidelity to you before it's committed? Or would you feel comfortable with someone planning on committing infidelity to you? Or is that just considered man talk? Is that just a form of man talk that I just don't process correctly? Because I'm definitely not processing that shit correctly as we speak. I'm not. Because to me, it just sounds like you let your dick do a lot of the decision making in your life, sir. That's not healthy. You let your dick make a lot of the decisions. You ended up with 3 kids and a woman you don't want to be with. Maybe it's time you start thinking with your big boy brain. You know? What's crazy is me and this same individual had a completely opposite conversation. Like it was the exact opposite of what we talked about today. And we talked about politics and, social norms and segregation and racism all wrapped in one. Because, like I said, he's an older guy and he's smooth. He's very selective with his words. And it was the polar opposite of what we discussed today. But I did want to talk about it because I think it's a problem. I think it's a problem that has a clear solution, but no one wants to believe the solution is real. And that is another problem. So this thing has 2 problems, like the problem itself and just distrusting in the solution of the problem. Now, the problem is the victimized black man syndrome. Okay. Just the pessimistic black man. And saying that, I don't want people to think that I am like what do you call it? Do people still call them Oreos or some shit? Or like you robbing the culture or some shit? Whatever it is. I'm not advocating for white culture or any other culture other than my own culture. I want to make that very clear. I'm not advocating for anything else other than the progression of my own culture in this statement that I'm going to make. Okay? But the mindset of the defeated black man is not only exaggerated and overblown, but it is a result of decisions that are made by individual choices, by the individual themselves, right? So we were talking about when the coronavirus first started popping up, and he had a bunch of conspiracies. Damn, I can't fucking speak English. He was thinking very conspiratorial, okay? And he was talking about how this was a plan for the government. They want to see how much they control. They're going to inflict martial law, all this type of shit. And fuck me, I am all for conspiracy theories. Give it to me. If it's juicy and it makes sense, I might not agree with it, but if it's good, if it's a good story arc, if I'm nothing other than a storyteller at heart, I'll listen to that shit. Give it to me. But what he was saying was like almost nonsensical. It made sense in my mind a little bit, so I let him slide. Everyone is entitled to their own opinions on things. But when it started to turn from the coronavirus to political issues and, just how his personal experience shaped his life, that's when I kind of drew the line. He was talking as if he was a hopeless, defeated individual who had life experience that would never allow him to succeed. Okay, I mean, if that is your opinion of your situation, I am not going to try and change your mind. Who am I to try and change your mind? I can only give you a conflicting opinion and maybe some reason to look for optimism inside of all of that shit that you just said. He went on to say that his glass is never half full. His glass is always half empty. And his final statement in the conversation, and this is what led me to, do a 360 and re-enter the conversation after I was exiting it. I had had enough of it. I'm like, you're just gonna be stuck in your way of thinking. I'm not going to involve myself. He went to say to me after I told him when he made the glass half empty statement, I made a retort that you need to be more optimistic, right? And his response to me was, this sounds like someone who's never lived in a hood a day in their life. That's what brought me back in. Because I'm like, you a goddamn lie. I lived in a hood a great deal of my life. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I lived on the west side of Chicago back when it was still dangerous. It probably still is now, but nowhere near as much when I lived there. That's when the GDs and the Vice Lords had a gang war going on, and you didn't know who the fuck was getting shot at. I lived on the south side of Chicago, and that's always been dangerous. You know, I lived, I didn't live a pretty life when I was, having to deal with those things. So that brought me back into the conversation, and I went on to engage in a conversation with him further, only to try and use myself as an example of the opposite that he was trying to project. He was trying to project an image of a defeated black man that came from the hood that didn't have any options but, doing manual labor and, always getting fucked over by the man. I was the exact opposite of the projection that he was trying to present as a black man who came from those same environments but actually made something of themselves that didn't always have the defeated mentality. Like, of course, it's impossible to always be optimistic, but you have to think your glass is half full more than it's half empty. So I re-engaged with him and told him a little bit of my backstory and tried to implore him that not everyone is out to get you. Your choices make up who you are. You don't have to carry this facade of, smooth black guy who's come from a rough background, who's just, going about their business because his options are just limited. That's not the story that you have to project. It's not. And that's the story of so many black men out here. I'm not going to say you. They carry about this image of, oh, it's my co-host. Okay, let's see if they chime in on this very heavy conversation. And they have. Oh. Anyway, so I was just presenting a difference of mindset to this person. And I really hope that they took heed to what I was saying. I really do. Yes, I do. Damn. Oh, you sound like you right there, bro. Once again, for those who don't frequently listen to this podcast, that train is 3 blocks away. 3 blocks, fam. 3 blocks. So, yeah, the like I was saying, the general attitude of black men that come from similar backgrounds as me is one that is of a defeated person who's only taking what the system will give them, and they just have to carry themselves in a certain way and think in a certain way when that's not the case at all. Everything that you do in this life, Every decision that you make is fucking up to you. You can be as happy as you want to be or be as miserable as you want to be. You can be as optimistic as you want to be or pessimistic as you want to be. You can be as charming as you want to be or as off-putting as you want to be. Everything is fucking up to you. Everything. Now, that is not to say that there aren't systems in place that are built to victimize black men. Not saying that, because those fucking systems are evident and they have been there for hundreds of years. We know what they are. We know about the fucking prison system. We know about identifying criminals. We know about the crack epidemic. We know about, stereotyping. We know about all this shit. We know how the system is built. So we have that knowledge. All of this stuff with the country that we live in, the United States of America, all the stuff has been put in place to try and keep us down, but there's too many successful black men on this planet right now to say that it is, keeping all of us down, that it is not possible to break free of the cycle of the defeated black man. And that's all I'm saying. That is literally all I'm saying. To break the fucking cycle. Break the cycle. Break the cycle. Because I feel sorry for your kids that they have to watch their dad, the man in their life, be this defeated black man, and they're going to carry that same mentality with them, and they're just going to carry it on through the generations, Someone has to break the cycle. Somewhere. And I'm confident in saying that when I do have children, and I do a little skeet, 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 in that little juice box, and if I have a little boy, I'm going to be an example for him, and that will officially break the cycle. That's a goal of mine. Just let myself be a little vulnerable to you a little bit. Get some insight to my brain, Help you get to know me a little bit, what I'm going through, how I'm thinking, what I'm going through, how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling, what's going on. Am I tugging my dick? Am I rubbing my foot? Am I scratching my head? Am I getting corona? Whatever. I'm going to let you know. Anyway, hope you guys are being safe out there. Until the next time, I'll holler at you. Bye.